John Kugler, Kugler, reporter, Substance News. I was assigned this press conference regarding preliminary reports of the ISAT scores. ISAT scores are the statewide standardized tests for elementary schools.
On June 23rd, 2010, the mayor and Ron Huberman were trying to head off TV coverage of the massive protests that were taking place that morning at the Board of Education meeting.
That was the same day that there was the scheduled monthly Board of Education meeting.
And so they called a press conference for 1 hour before the board met at a school about 3 miles from the Board of Education's headquarters.
On that date is the day that they were slated to lay off or terminate hundreds, if not thousands, of teachers in the Chicago public schools. The press conference was in a classroom in the basement of the school. I've seen reporters there from all over the city. I've seen reporters from WBEC, the Sun-Times, Tribune, a couple from some news organizations. There was Channel 7, Channel 2, Channel 5, and Channel 9 were there to cover this press conference of preliminary ISAT scores. So these weren't the scores, actual reports. These were preliminary results. Again, this was on the day of the Board of Education meeting. And then all of a sudden, there became a hush over the room. It became very quiet. And I didn't understand what was going on. And later did I understand that everybody should be quiet while the mayor, His Honor, comes into the room.
I am Danita Scott, the principal of Jonathanburg Elementary School. It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Huberman, Alderman Marino, and it's my utmost pleasure for the fourth time to welcome Mayor Richard M. Daley.
So it was very strange. It's like your children playing in your household, and then when the father comes in or the grandfather comes in, everybody's quiet and stands to attention. So that was my first experience with that, with actually the mayor coming into a room, or the preparations of the mayor coming to the room.
The mayor, once again, with the help of the Board of Education's cooking of the data sets, announced that reading scores had, standardized test scores in Chicago had gone up again. And you always put that up in quotation marks because under a dictatorship, you know, everything from petroleum exports in Romania in 1988 to, you know, the potato harvest in Bulgaria. I mean, everything always goes up. So it's a similar event. But the mayor got done announcing that the scores had gone up, and one of the other reporters asked him and Ron Huberman, how are you going to keep the scores going up? And Huberman said, well, I'm going to keep the scores going up by hiring the best teachers and getting the best people in the classrooms.
At this point in time, I shouted out a question, and I said, what about the laid off literacy teachers that you just laid off and terminated last Friday?
Lay off first.
How do the lead literacy teachers fall into this equation of layoffs? Because the lead literacy teachers are all master teachers, 54 of them which were laid off last Friday. You're talking about having professional development over the summer with the best teachers. These lead literacy teachers are the best teachers in the district, but they all got notices that they're terminated as of June 30th. Most of them have multiple certificates. Most of them are highly qualified in their subject area, and they're reading coaches.
So this is a press conference, so we're here to get questions from the press first.
Yeah, I am the
Okay?
press.
I'm sorry, well, we need to be
Substance News.
with your news outlet. So we're going to wind this up.
So can you answer that question?
So John Kugler, who was covering the event for Substance, asked Huberman the question, well, how are you going to keep the best teachers when last Friday you laid off 78 of your best teachers, the mentor teachers and citywide coaches in math and reading? These are people with advanced degrees, often with doctorates, and they are also often national board certified teachers. Board of Education had sent all 78 of these people, I think it's 78, it may have been more, letters saying you're laid off effective July 1st, you have no seniority rights, your career's over, bye. And when John finished asking that question, Mayor Daley's press secretary, the former Tribune reporter Jacqueline Hurd, basically gave the cutoff sign, said this press conference is over. Her first response was, this is only for real reporters, But since Substance reports the news every day, and Kugler's been reporting for us for a couple of years, and also carries the Chicago Police press credential, she had to back off of that. I mean, he just said, "I'm with Substance, I'm a reporter," and so she just ended the press conference, and Huberman never had to answer the question.
Here we were at a press conference. Ron Huberman went through a close to 20 minutes of talking about how he's going to get the best teachers to mentor and coach other teachers in the system. But in my question, I asked, well, how is he going to do that when just last Friday he terminated over 200 of these coaches that were doing exactly that job? And I went through a little bit of that, asking Ron Huberman, how are you going to implement a program of professional development, coaching and mentoring teachers throughout the system with the best teachers when basically you just fired these teachers last Friday? At that point in time, he gave me a stare. He was just quiet. He was staring at me. And then from to my, I think it was to my right, I heard a voice, a female voice.
This is a press conference, so we're here to get questions from the press first.
Oh, sorry, we're only taking questions from the members of the press. And at that point in time, I said, I am a member of the press. Here's my press credentials.
So we're going to wind this up.
So can you answer that question? And at that point in time, everything was shut down, and they shuffled the mayor out of the room and Ron Huberman out of the room. So that was it. It was abruptly ended. I didn't get an answer to my question, and basically the press conference was ended with my question.
They want to have a very controlled message to the press. They don't want to answer any hard questions. When Kugler asked, what about these nationally board certified, very well qualified teachers that you fired, then instead of answering, they shut the press conference down. The way things work that it's the business interests, the capitalists, if you will, that actually run things. A lot of what's purported to be democracy is really a sham, like the board meeting, for example. So you have this Board of Education, which of course is appointed by Daley. The corporate press, they're part of the system, and just like Huberman gets his marching orders from Daley, who gets his marching orders from the corporations of the city, the commercial club, that it's the same with the press.